All right. We're talking about Gears of War 3. It's the final game in the Gears trilogy. So the idea was that this is going to wrap up most of the big questions that the series has posed thus far. And, I mean, there were really only 3 questions, which are, why did the war start? Where'd the Lambent come from? And why does the Queen look human? And they answer 2 of those. I suspect they're going to answer the third one later in some DLC, but, you know, who knows? But overall, what did you think of the game?
Well, if you don't know already, spoiler alert.
Spoiler cam.
Yeah. I like the game a lot, especially the mechanics. Much better in this game than any of the others. Obviously, they worked a lot hard on it, but I still feel really strongly about how 2 played out. 2 just felt better. The gameplay, you just felt like you were, the sense of urgency, and you were on the brink of death the whole time. You were in constant battle. It was a really intense, experience. And in this one, it kind of fell short. It didn't feel the same. But like I said, the mechanics in this game are much better. So I think if you had the mechanics in this one with the way 2 played out, perfect game. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was... I definitely liked it a lot. As far as, like, action set pieces go, 2 definitely felt like it had more. And what I find funny is a lot of those were around vehicle portions in the game. Mm-hmm. And that's where Gears sucks, is vehicles. Okay.
Well, you gotta admit, though, the last...
Okay, maybe it was just, like, the shittiness of the control.
I think that's what it was, because in this one, they just, like... I mean, they weren't really vehicles.
Yeah, like, the only time there was a vehicle, the thing was on autopilot, and you just kind of manned a turret. You didn't have to control anything.
Exactly. Well, aside from that, that's probably why they got rid of it. People complained about that a lot. But with the way they changed the way that some of the, like I said, the mechanics work, it just felt so much smoother. And that was really awesome. Mm-hmm. But just, like, remember at the end of 2 how you were being chased down and you had to sit there and just, like, fight that guy off.
Yeah, and, you had little trash mobs, like, all over the place.
Right.
Okay, and then you had, like, this big-ass, like, floaty Matrix, like, those, like, squid things from the Matrix.
Exactly.
But giant and horrible.
Exactly.
Okay, chasing you.
Yeah. Okay, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And the whole game felt like that to me in 2. In 3... And I hate to repeat myself over and over again, but it didn't feel that way. Like, I felt like I was in charge the whole time, even when there were parts of the game where it felt like we were being pushed back. It still felt like I'm hammering them away, like, big time. As in 2, I know we went straight to them, but just it didn't feel like I was ever in danger.
Yeah. Yeah. 2 definitely... 2 was, like... You were in the middle of the war, though.
Exactly.
Like, the first one, the war had been happening. E-Day happened.
Right.
Okay, but it was the early days of the war.
Right.
So no one was taking things seriously until, like, the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
2 was the shit. Okay?
Right.
Everything was fucked up.
You were just in the shit.
Thing going to shit, and then 3, pretty much everything's already happened. Like, there is no big city to defend anymore. There's no real war.
Right. It's just
going
the
on.
Lambent is just,
it's just
overrunning shit.
It's just, okay, everyone's scavenging for resources. Okay.
Both sides.
Both sides, Locust and Human, are just trying to rebuild colonies to survive. And if it means they have to kill each other a little bit, then they do it. If not, they don't. Okay. And then there's just the rampant Lambent threat.
Right.
Which did have a pretty awesome reveal.
Right.
Okay, and was led up to... I think that was my favorite part of the entire game, when you're in Mercy.
Oh, right. With the Lambent people.
Yeah. Spoiler, back up. Okay. Yeah, the lambent people, which you know how I feel about zombies.
Yeah.
And these are zombies that explode.
Exactly.
Okay, but you can't get infected.
Yeah.
That
Well, technically you are already infected.
Yeah, you're already infected.
But you're not affected by it yet.
Right. Okay, and that whole part of the game was creepy, and it was the biggest action set piece, and they finally used that song, "Mad World,"
Right.
which
I had never noticed until you pointed out to me, which I
yeah,
think was funny.
it was in the trailer for the very first game.
Right.
Okay, so they finally used that, and it was actually a very, very good scene. But yeah, everything felt short. Ice-T was in it because they're like he like loves the series, and him and Cliff are like buddies now or something.
His character was good. I actually expected to see him at the end again at some point.
Yeah, I did too.
The way they left him, or the way he left, I should say, it felt like you were going to see him again, and maybe there's going to be some DLC.
Maybe it's going to be DLC with him. He felt shoehorned in after the game ended.
Yeah.
Because the whole time I was thinking that he's going to be like a Han Solo character.
Right.
He's going to come back at the end like he's an asshole. He's been a dick to you this entire time. He's like, fuck you. I'm only worried about, my people and myself.
Right.
I don't give a shit about the war or the Lambent or anything.
Right.
I thought he was going to come back and be like, oh, whatever. Okay, but no, that didn't happen.
So, another thing on mine. What did you think about the weapons this time around?
I didn't play too much with the various weapons. I mean, I like the Lancer because it's a good weapon.
The Lancer is all around good. It's your go-to weapon, definitely.
Okay,
it's got the accuracy, and it's got perfect balance of accuracy and power.
Yeah,
definitely.
Okay, I mean, and you've got one of the bloodiest, goriest melees with it.
Yep.
Okay. The Retro Lancer became sort of my second favorite. Like I wasn't too excited about it because at the beginning it's kind of like you have an either or kind of deal.
It's a little awkward too because when it's the Retro Lancer, so there's less accuracy, but it's a little more powerful. So when you first start using it, you're just the kick is just crazy.
Yeah,
but you get used to it eventually.
Like the reticle for the regular Lancer is like that big, and then the reticle for the Retro Lancer is just huge. And you seriously have to start at the feet, and it'll just kick up.
Yeah,
up along the body.
You can counter it. What I was doing when I was using it, I was just pulling down on the stick slowly as I was firing each time. So it was kind of like that.
Yeah.
And I was able to steady it. But when you first use it, you're not expecting it. So the first time I used it, I think I just completely fucked everything up because I wasn't expecting the kick to be so bad.
Yeah, and the melee on it is hard to do because it sends you into a lunge almost. And if you miss your target, you're just wide open.
Yeah.
The shotgun, the sawed-off, extremely powerful.
I hated it.
But you got one shot.
And they better be right in front of you, too. They have to be standing right in front of you.
Okay,
else the reload time is terrible.
Yeah, it seriously is way too long, even if you are like a master at the quick reload. Because that quick reload is almost entirely at the end of the bar.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's just like great. And I understand if they made that reload time shorter, you could just murder everything because you'd be like constantly blowing the shit out of everything. So, let's see what other guns?
The hammer burst was my favorite. That was my secondary. I either had for my primary, I always had the Lancer. My secondary was always the Hammer Burst or the Retro Lancer, because at times I had to switch because I did run out of ammo. But I like the Hammer Burst because I'm a big fan of burst shot or single shot. I could really take things out pretty well. I think it's mostly because of all the Halo I played.
Right.
With the Magnum and the assault rifle that they had in 3. The combat rifle, that's the one. Right. I used the crap out of that thing. So when it came to this, it felt really natural, especially, if, our teammates would go in first and as they're firing and taking cover, I'm still in the back walking, taking pop shots at everyone and just, whittling them down. And then when I got closer, I'd just take them out with the Lancer pretty much.
Yeah, the Hammer Burst, I didn't like it so much. It just felt too weak.
Oh, it felt awesome.
Okay, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird because for me, every time I hit something, it's like, yeah, I hit it. It felt like a hammer. They took the recoil a little bit. You can see it in their bodies, which was really cool.
The long shot.
long shot's pretty awesome.
I liked it better in 2.
It's true. Yeah.
In 2, it like I understand like it was more balanced, but in 2, I felt like I've got a sniper rifle. I'm gonna.
Oh wait, I was thinking of the one shot.
No,
the long shot is god awful. I didn't use it the entire game. I tried twice, and I threw it away.
I used it a few times. It's good, but like in the first one, if you had the reticle on the guy, you were pretty certain to either immobilize him or kill him with that first hit. Okay, and in this one, that's not necessarily so unless you got a headshot.
Right.
Okay,
and surprisingly enough, I noticed this when we were playing. It was harder to get headshots in this one.
Much harder.
Which was really weird because there were times when I had the hammer burst, and when I did use the long shot, I had it right on them, and nothing happened.
Yeah.
It was they just took it, and I'm just like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe the hitbox has moved, something's a little off, or maybe they just can take more damage in the head this time. I'm not sure, but yeah, I was a little disappointed because I used to get headshots with the occasionally with the Lancer, and that was just cool. I mean, assault rifle, and you're just there. It is.
Yeah, I mean they definitely still happen. I still had a couple headshots, but they weren't anywhere near as frequent.
Yeah.
The one shot was
that's the one I thought you were talking about.
Yeah,
the one shot's really good.
The one shot is amazing, only because it's true to the name.
Literally the one shot. It's sad that you only have like in some cases you only get 5 rounds. I think.
You get 5 or 8 rounds or something like that, and whatever you point the gun at, if you hit it, it dies.
Yeah, it didn't matter how big it was either.
Yeah, so you were which I think kind of like it was fun to use, but it cheapened the game in some places because like there's one part where you're defending that fort,
right?
And there's Reavers coming in.
Yeah, and you just literally one-shotted them as they came down.
You just one-shot the Reaver as soon as they land, and they're no longer a threat. They just go down and explode. Okay, it's not even like, they don't even offset it by having it hard to get the shot, because you can shoot anywhere on their body.
Which I thought was really weird, too, because there were times where, when we were, pretty much in the fray, and I had the one shot, and Amir was, just going to town, and I hit someone in the hand, and they exploded.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great. But at the same time, it's like, that's a little weird.
Yeah. So, it's a great weapon. I mean, I just felt it was unnecessary. Like, give me a little bit more ammo, and, make me work for it.
Yeah. Like, if I hit him in the arm or the leg, I don't expect them to necessarily die. But definitely, like, a chest or head, I can see that. And even like weak points on the Reavers would have been a little bit better, because then instead of just pointing and shooting and didn't matter where it hit, it would feel a little bit more real.
Let's see, what else was there?
We could discuss about the Lambit, where it came from, and all that stuff.
Okay. Spoiler time. Here's the 3 questions that I posed at the beginning. Here's what happened. So if you don't want to do that, skip ahead a bit. I'll put in the notes where to skip to.
Although if you're already this far, you pretty much experienced most of the game.
Yeah. Okay, but I'll put where you can skip to that it's safe. Okay. But yeah, Lambit come from the emulsion. Okay, and so everyone's exposed to it. It's a parasite, not an energy source. You continue talking. My cat is ripping up.
I'll just wait for you until you come back and be a little bit better. All right.
Yeah, so the Lambit comes from the emulsion. And it's a parasite, and everyone's infected.
Everyone, absolutely. Doesn't matter what race.
Yeah, and it's just the level of infection that you have determines whether you go Lambit or not. And so all the humans that have been working in the refineries who are exposed to it more started turning Lambit. And you start seeing that in a few of the cities you go to. And it's really creepy. Like, you're kind of expecting when you're going in because they tell you that some of the people have changed
Right.
and had a sickness, so you immediately start thinking zombie.
Right. The only part that it felt really creepy is when it first happened in the sewers. After that, you were just I wasn't affected by it anymore.
Well, the thing is, you don't feel affected like, oh god, there's creepy, this is insane, but you're like, they're a shit enemy to fight because they swarm in.
Yeah, but I didn't have much trouble with them.
You don't have much trouble, but they're like exploding all over the place. And I imagine if we were playing on a harder difficulty, with with two other people instead of just
It'd balance out,
co-op,
right?
it would balance out and it
Right.
become really difficult because they were not easy because they're not big. They're
Right.
small targets
Right.
and they're not easy to shoot
They
necessarily.
were were kind of like the tickers,
Yeah,
but
faster.
But the thing is, I think it would have been a little bit easier, or a little bit harder if the developers in the game would have them come from different directions instead of just one direction at a time. Because every time they showed up, they flooded from one direction, and then that wave stopped, and there was a time like they started coming in behind us, but once again, the wave that was coming in front of us stopped. So behind us, we just focused fire there. So it was. There were of course ones that slipped through, but for the most part, they were just running into our bullets. So that's why I didn't really feel affected, especially with the two other characters that we had with us, the computer players.
Yeah,
Did a really good job. The AI is really great in this one, and they
murdered the shit out of things.
yeah, they did.
Okay.
So I mean, we definitely had the backup for it, but it only felt really creepy in the sewers because it was that mystery. You didn't know what you were about to see yet.
Right.
So once you saw it, you're like, oh, and then after that, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's where the lambent come from. And it had been a problem for the Locusts for a while. And Adam Phoenix, Marcus's dad, was somehow knew Queen Mira.
By the way, he's alive.
He's alive. Okay. Which they hinted at in 2.
Right.
Okay. But he knew Queen Mira. They didn't explain how, because he knew her, and it seemed like no one else did.
Yeah. No, but that's what it was. No one else did. Remember, he said no one else knew but him.
I thought that no one else knew like the problem that he was working on.
I don't think anyone else knew that he knew the queen either, though.
Maybe. Either way, he knew the queen. They were like buddies or whatever. And she's like, we got this problem with Lambent going on. And so he was working on a cure. And he had a time. She had given him a deadline. And he wasn't able to do it in time. And so she revolted to kind of force his hand. And that's where E-Day came from. That was the beginning of the war. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's not because, we came to their planet and we started colonizing it. It's because literally they had a deal kind of go south with one guy.
Yeah.
Okay, because they were going to be infected, and if they were going to go down, they were going to bring everyone with them.
Right.
So that's where the war started and where that comes from. They don't answer why the queen's human.
Or at least why she looks human.
Or why she at least looks human. Because they get really up close in this game with the queen.
Like, really up close, and I don't want to spoil that for you.
Okay, like you see her, you get a full 360 of her, and
she seems completely human.
Seems completely, it really looks like she's just totally just wearing armor.
Yeah.
I mean, she is pale and gray like the Locust.
Well, that's because she spent a lot of time underground.
But you could just say that's, who wouldn't?
That's why I assumed. Even her hair's pretty pale.
Yeah. But, it literally looks just like armor that she's wearing.
Yeah.
Adam Phoenix, at the end of the game, gives Baird a disc. And he says, this has everything on it. It's got, every single answer you could want. Okay? But then the end of the game comes and goes, and you've never looked at the disc, and there's no way to look at the disc.
No options or anything. So unless we really missed something, which we probably did because we ran through the game in 9 hours.
Yeah.
Which was supposed to be a 12-hour game. That's what everyone was saying. We seriously did it in 9 hours. So it's possible we definitely missed something, but it didn't seem that way.
Yeah, and from what I've looked online, it didn't look
Yeah.
like there's anything pertaining to that. But there is going to be content DLC because you load up the game, you go into campaign mode. There's a bit option that says coming soon
Right.
for campaign DLC. So there's definitely more to the story. I hope it takes place after. It's not like a mission shoehorned in the middle. Like
Right, by some other person. Although they could have done that because there are times, like in the beginning of the game, you play Coltrane's part of the game, and you also play Phoenix's part of the game.
that happened concurrently.
Right. And later in the game, stuff like that did happen, but you didn't play the other counterpart.
Right, because there was a part where you were like, oh, now we're going to play their part.
Yeah.
Because Coltrane's like, or Bear, one of them was like, you'll never guess what we found.
Exactly.
And you never find out what they found.
Yep.
Okay, they never. No, wait, you do. They found the military.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But
Okay.
you don't play that part. So I'm just saying, like, I can see them trying to shove something in like that.
Right. Okay.
Um,
Okay. So yeah, who knows? I really hope. I hope and I expect that it'll take place after, because, like, at the end, it's not really resolved.
Not really.
The Lambent problem is fixed.
Yeah, definitely. But the thing is, at the same time, so is kind of the Locust problem.
It kind of is.
It kind of is, because they're not 100%, it isn't fact that, I'm going to have to just say it.
Yeah.
It isn't fact that they all died.
Yeah.
It's assumed that they all died. Definitely the Lambent all died, but it isn't a fact that all of the Locusts died, because
all Adam said is that it'll have the thing that kills the Lambent will have an effect on the Locust because he doesn't have the time.
Yeah. It only didn't affect humans. He only had enough time to make it to where it didn't affect humans or kill them or anything. But he didn't say that it would kill the Locusts.
Yeah, he just said it would have an effect. So if that's yet another mutation,
Right.
or it just weakens them, but they're still like ready to fight or whatever.
Right, yeah. Although you do see some of them die toward the end, but I think that's just whatever. Those happened to die.
Yeah, because there's ones that will die if they have enough emulsion
Right.
in them, but they're not lambent.
Yeah.
Okay, if they just have too much in them, they'll have died anyway.
Right.
So that it's unclear, but it does end with like them all celebrating as if it's a final victory.
Right. Phoenix took his armor off and everything at the end.
Yeah.
It's symbolic.
Yep.
My favorite part is that we invaded their planet and won.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty funny. We're the bad guys, if you haven't got that yet.
Well, not even really, because they were going to live like sympathetically. Because if you go with this, that she's attacking because one guy failed to do a fairly complicated thing, like eradicate another living species
Right.
on the planet. Okay. That makes them kind of dicks. Like, they were willing, like, everyone was cool where they were.
But we didn't know of their existence.
We didn't know of their existence. They knew of us, but they, like, if they wasn't the Lambent problem, they were totally fine with just chilling
Right, because how long were we on that planet?
a long time.
Yeah, pretty long time.
Okay. So, it doesn't make us the bad guys anymore.
Not really, I guess. But I like the invasion idea that, well, the thing is, I know we've been out in space. Everyone knows I love space. This is going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to happen.
Definitely. I mean, the Queen, if there's no, like, crazy bug thing going on under the armor, it's totally hot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I mean, that could happen,
Right.
but
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Is there something else you wanted to address?
no, I think that's it.
Yeah.
What rating would you give? Oh, graphics. The
Definitely.
game was beautiful.
Beautiful.
It's the newest version of the Unreal Engine.
Very good.
And yeah, like the game starts off and it's a typical Gears affair, very brown and gray.
Right.
Okay.
But there are parts.
At the end, like the whole entire last act
Is just beautiful green scenery.
Yeah, it's a tropical island, really showing off that, hey, we could do all these crazy lighting, shadows, and vibrant colors, and it all looks good. And it was it was really quite gorgeous to
It
look
was.
at.
And definitely, I want to just bring up once again the control. Control was really good.
Yeah.
This Gears felt much better than any of the other ones.
Yeah, Gears always felt good.
Yeah.
But this was just refined.
It was tweaked
like
just
that
right.
much more.
Yeah.
So what would you score that like out of 10?
Because the only reason I would give this score is because I expected more action for a finale, but I give it an 8. If not, definitely a 9.
I would give it about a 9.
Yeah.
Okay. 2, I think, would get about like a 9.5.
Right. Right.
Okay, but this one would get a 9. I know it got a few 10s around
Right.
and a few high 9s. I can definitely see where it gets that.
I could see a high 9, but like I said, the only reason I'm giving it an 8 is because I expected a bigger finale, and that may come with DLC, so that I might change my mind because DLC is becoming a bigger thing.
Yeah.
But as the base game right now, I give it an 8.
Yeah.
Definitely the best control though in the series.
Yeah. I think this game could easily be a 10 if we played 4-player, because we did couch co-op and you can only do two players couch co-op. But the game, whereas 2 really felt like they wanted you to have 2 people playing the game, this one really felt like they wanted you to work with 4 players.
Yeah.
Because there was never a time where there weren't 4 characters around. Even when you had to split into 2 groups.
There were still 4 characters there.
It was always 4 characters. And so they just really wanted you to have that experience. And maybe if I'll find some friends online and we'll be able to do that.
Yeah, I'll be more than happy to go through it again. I mean, I got to get my gold back online though, so.
Right.
I mean, it's not that much anymore, but.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, the only reason I'm giving it a low score is because I expected more of the story. Game-wise, mechanics-wise, it was phenomenal. The engine was great. I have no complaints about anything else but the story, really. Like, that's really it. And I can't see this game as of now getting a 10. I can see it definitely getting high 9s. 10's a little much. It's really hard, I think, to give any game a 10. It's difficult.
I don't know. Final Fantasy X was given tons of 10s.
It's because it was 10.
Probably. Probably. That game wasn't that good, though.
Yeah, see, whatever. I felt the same.
Yeah.
I never even finished it. That's how I felt.
Oh, I finished it, but then I couldn't do 10 too.
I didn't even bother with
I got like an hour into that, and I was like, this is stupid.
Good example, just real quick, of a game that I thought was rated fair. Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. And I know you don't like the Splinter Cell series, but if you're a fan of the Splinter Cell series, I could definitely see, or you like that type of gameplay, that was fairly rated, I think.
Batman Arkham Asylum. I know you haven't played it.
No, I played the demo.
You played the demo.
But I've watched people play it, and it looks great. And from what I've felt and seen, I could see that.
Yeah, that one, it deserved every high mark, and I'm so excited for the next one.
Oh yeah, I want it.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it.
Yep.
I don't know when we'll do another one of these. We don't get games too often.
Yeah, we'll try. I mean, I actually have Rage and Skyrim reserved, so
Skyrim will be hard to do a review
Skyrim
for.
will be hard to do a review for, but definitely expect one from Rage. We're both going to be on that shit.
Rage,
so.
Rage will be done, and maybe Batman.
Yeah, maybe Batman too.
Maybe Batman.
I mean, I'm already getting more free time, so all I need is a little bit of my own time, and I'm gonna just go fucking crazy. I'm gonna ride this tiger.
And with that, we're done.
Thanks for watching.
Yep.